Okay, so now let's do an application type problem. So I'm going to read the problem, then we'll sketch a graph possibly and figure out what the answer is. Okay, it says now, we will return to the problem posed at the beginning of the section, okay, which I didn't go over, but we'll go over it now. It says a bicycle ramp is constructed for high-level competition with an angle of theta formed by the ramp and the ground. Okay, so let's see what this ramp looks like. So let's say it's a ramp that does something like this, and here's the ground. Okay? And so here's the angle theta that the ramp makes with the ground. Okay, so that's what I got so far. Okay, so now it says another ramp is to be constructed half as steep for novice competition. If tangent theta equals 5/3 for the higher level competition, what is the measurement of the angle for novice competition? Okay. Seems pretty straightforward. So now we know that, so what we're given is tangent theta is given as 5/3, right? I mean, that's what they said? Yeah, 5/3. And that's for this situation. So now the thing is that we want for the low level or the amateur, what they say, or novice. For the novice, where's it at? For the novice competition, they want it constructed to be half as steep, which means the angle is going to be half, right? Or another way to look at it is tangent of theta over 2 should equal, now this is my guess, thinking about the problem, is half as steep, which means that this ratio, rise over run, should be, well, half as steep would mean it'd be 5/3 times a half, right? Which means that this would be 5/6. I don't know. I'm just thinking about this. But we're going to use this here to kind of gauge. So let's draw our okay? So there's our triangle. Okay? So again, what's the goal here? What is the measurement of the angle for the novice competition? That's what we're looking for. Okay. Well, first of all, let's fill out this triangle. So 5/3, so tangent theta is 5/3. So that's opposite over adjacent, right, for tangent. So again, if you use the Pythagorean Theorem, we get 3 squared plus 5 squared equals c squared. So that means 9 plus 25 equals c squared, which means 34 equals c squared, which means, again, c is always positive because it's the hypotenuse. So we know that c equals the square root of 34. Okay? So c is equal to the square root of 34. So let's write that. So c equals square root of 34. Okay, so now, what else can we use? Well, we want to know what the angle is, right? That's what we're looking for. So, let's use the formula, right? So the formula, so let's see if this is, so this is my guess based on my reasoning, right? Let's see if this is correct. Okay, we'll see. It might not be correct. But we're going to use the definition now. So let's say tangent theta over 2 is equal to what? It's plus or minus 1 minus cosine theta divided by 1 plus cosine theta, right? Well, what's cosine theta? Well, now we know that cosine theta is 3 over square root of 34. Okay? So let's write that over here. So cosine theta equals 3 divided by the square root of 34, which I'm going to write, again, I'm going to multiply the top and the bottom by square root of 34. So that's going to be 3 times the square root of 34 over 34. Okay? So now, we're going to plug that in. Okay. So now, by the way, since we're dealing with this angle here, it's going to be positive. Okay. So we're going to deal with positive angle. Okay. Again, the situation calls for it. We could think of this as in the first quadrant. Okay. And so now, let's plug it in. So this is going to be the square root of 1 minus 3 root 34 over 34 divided by 1 plus 3 root 34 over 34. Okay. Now, I'm going to make these into simpler fractions. So this is going to be, I'm going to just make this into 34 over 34. So I'm going to write this as 34 minus 3 root 34 over 34. And then this is going to be 34 plus 3 root 34 over 34. Okay. Now, the 34s are going to cancel because they're both in the denominator, and if I multiply by the reciprocal, they're just going to cancel. Okay? And so what I'm going to end up with is this. So I'm going to end up with what? I'm going to end up with 34 minus 3 root 34 over 34 plus 3 root 34. Okay, now, that's what I have so far. Now I can put that in my calculator, right? And so if I put this in my calculator, and I strongly make sure you do this to verify. So if I put that in my calculator, I get 0.57, approximately 0.57. So this is approximately equal to 0.57, and that's in radians. Okay? Or no, that's the ratio, I'm sorry. Because we're talking about tangent. So the tangent of this is 0.57. Now, let's see what we get with that 5/6. I'm curious. Just to see if we're right. Just to see if I'm right. So, And nope, not right at all. 5 divided by 6 is 0.83, repeating. So this is equal to approximately 0.83. So now we'll come back to that in a minute. Okay, so now 0.57. So now what we have to do is we have to use inverse tangent. Right? So inverse tangent, oops. So we're going to do inverse tangent of both sides, right? So inverse tangent here, inverse tangent here. So we're going to get theta over 2 is equal to inverse tangent of 0.57. And this gives us, this is approximately equal to, here we go, 29.7 degrees. 29.7 degrees. Now if you're, again, if you get radians, if your calculator's in radians, make sure you do the correct conversion into degrees. So 29.7 degrees, so almost a 30-degree angle. In fact, I'd be wondering if this keeps going out, I wonder, you know what, I'm going to, because I think that might be actually a 30-degree angle if you were to actually take the exact value. So let me do this. I'm going to do inverse tangent of this entire thing. So I'm going to put the whole thing in there. So give me a minute here. So I'm going to do 34 minus 3 times root 34. Okay. Divided by 34 plus 3 times root 34. All right, so now, all right, here we go. And, all right, there we go. So now let's see what we get. All right, okay, so I got 0.515188 when I put the actual thing in there. Or no, okay, hold on a second. No, I'm sorry. Hold on, let me check my mode. I think I'm in radians. Because I forgot, I put this in the inverse tangent. Yeah. So I got 0.515188, so let me change it to degrees. Okay, so now I'm going to, okay, now I got 29.518. So you know what? I was wrong. So it actually is closer. So the more exact answer is 29.5 degrees if you put the whole thing in there instead of rounding here. So again, this is more accurate. So what I did was, here's what I did in the calculator. Okay, instead of rounding, and it's always a good practice not to round here, I mean, for exam purposes and things like that, I mean, not a big deal. But again, if you're looking for accuracy here, I would take the inverse tangent because what we have is this. We end up with tangent of theta over 2 is equal to this, right? 34 minus 3 times root 34 divided by 34 plus 3 root 34. Now, so what I did was basically just, you could take the inverse tangent of both sides. So I took the inverse tangent of this entire thing, and that gave me what? That gave me theta divided by 2 of approximately 29.5 degrees, okay, instead of 29.7 degrees. So this is more accurate, but again, this is wrong because again, just because the ratio of one triangle is this, if you reduce this by half, that doesn't mean that the ratios are still going to match up that way. Okay, so just saying, hey, if I do half the angle, then is that going to do half the ratio? And that's incorrect. Okay, so avoid doing this type of reasoning because it doesn't translate into the triangle the way you would think. Okay, so again, another reason to know these formulas. Have a great day.